It's 2009, and I have to focus on completing a set of working pickups to perform with in Florida and do some real-world testing. I still make 2 major steps forward before I go. I assemble the step coil and run some tests to determine the best number of winds for the coils, and I wind a second generation of coils. Because of the problems with supporting a coil mounted over the strings, and just to keep trying new designs, I make these coils on permanent metal bobbins. I use aluminum U-bar for both lightness and simply because that was what was available. I was able to wind the first coil on the metal bobbin alone, but the coils are either too long or not tight enough to maintain a flat shape, so I add sides to hold the coil in place until it can be potted. I want to experiment with shielding and casing as well, so I use tinfoil covered poster paper and flat sheet aluminum used with roof gutters, both stiffened with foam board. I arrive in Florida and visit Dad first, where I can also keep working. I start potting the new coils in wax after losing so many epoxy cast coils when the wires broke and couldn't be unwound and fixed. I folded up a trough out of the same sheet aluminum I was using, and I'm potting the first 8-inch coil in a mixture of paraffin and beeswax, heating it with an old waffle iron Dad has. After it cools, I peel off the foam board, leaving the sheet aluminum. I fold down the edges to make a cover, and then use the aluminum foil-covered paper underneath to complete the shielding. I carefully tape some paper onto the first 18-inch coil that I wound to retain the shape of the coil before I pot it in wax. I leave these coils in the hot wax for a few hours. I try and work some of the air out with a paintbrush, and then I pull them out, let them cool. Turns out this next 18-inch coil was too wide to fit in the trough, so I decide to carefully remove both the foam board stiffeners and the sheet aluminum on one side. Now I've bent up the remaining tin to form the sides of the finished case. I tape the coil wires into place real carefully, and now I'm inserting the magnets into place, and now I'm going to dump the whole thing in the wax. I could imagine running a single bar magnet up the center, and then I'd have a narrower field, but I want these to match the existing coils. And I think maybe a wider field helps balance the irregularities of the sensing area. I'm going to cut the remaining tin out to match the bottom, and I'll have a complete solid aluminum case for this pickup. The last major project is making the first control box. I'm starting with 3 sets of individual controls. Each one has an on-off switch, a tone, and a volume knob, and they all feed a master volume control that goes to a single output jack. Eventually I'll put these controls in the body of the instrument, like a standard guitar, but for now I don't know how many controls I'll need, how many sets or even types of pickups I'm going to have, and even what the most effective location for the controls will be. I tell people the electric part of the dulcimer is what I'm still experimenting with. This includes all the possibilities in switching, controls, and outputs, as well as the pickups themselves. The working set on the dulcimer is still unshielded and unprotected. I don't worry about shielding, but both for protection and for a clean, professional look, which is important, I want to cover them, though I'm still experimenting even with this. I buy some white plastic sheet and make cases for the pickups with that, though for the upper pickup, I simply paint the metal strip black and run the white around the sides. Finally, I route the wires inside the dulcimer to try and protect them better. Then I'm ready to hit the streets, ready to hit the road. Well, the pickups work great. Even more, they stand up to being shoved in and out of the van, hauled around town and festival grounds, across the state, back and forth, through all the vibrations and serious bumps over rocks and roots and curbs, usually with clothes and mic stand and even the video camera piled on top, in all kinds of weather from sun to pouring rain for a couple months. At one point, the wind knocks the Dulcie over, flipping it totally on its face, smashing the upper pickup and one of the outer bridges. I am so lucky that I made that second set of pickups, and I'm able to replace the broken one with the metal-cased one and get right back to work. It really only emphasizes the need to make more of these pickups, because these are the only ones in the world. But this is the real world, and they work hard, and they work great. Plug and play in just a wide range of situations. I'm there checking out the scene, get ready for gigging here next year. I'm playing the open mics and jamming at people's houses, playing on the street and in the plaza, jamming for folks at the music store and for local bands. I do a show at an outdoor house concert venue south of town. I end up being invited to the State Folk Festival, and I play there just before I finally head north. I am more than satisfied. I put these pickups through a serious, real-world test. They survived some tough miles and worked great. The tone and range is excellent. I'm going to be happy using these to record the new CDs with. Though there's still plenty of work to be done, plenty of things to experiment with, but there's no question that it's worth it. All I got to figure out is what to do next and what to do first.